What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel where we keep it real and we don't hold nothing back. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about breakups in hip-hop culture right now, Angela Simmons and Yo Gotti. Now listen, if you're like me, when this relationship first hit the headlines, you probably raised an eyebrow. And now that it's allegedly over, that eyebrow is fully lifted. People about their theories, some folks saying the streets got too hot for Angela, others blaming Yo Gotti's baggage. But today, we're peeling back the layers and talking about what really went down, in my opinion. Let's start with what everyone's whispering about right now, the idea that Angela's father, Rev Run, stepped in and made the call to get his baby girl up out of that situation. Honestly, I don't think that's far-fetched. As a father myself, I totally understand where that instinct comes from. I'm 49 years old with a 29-year-old daughter, and I don't care how grown she gets. She will always be my baby. And if I get even the smallest sense that something bad is heading her way, I'm stepping in. Period. That's called parenting. That's called protecting. So when I hear people say Rev Run possibly saw danger ahead and stepped in, I believe it. He's a man of faith, but he's also a man who came up in the game. He knows what's out there. And right now, what's out there for Yo Gotti is not good. With the Young Dolph murder trial heating up, the streets of Memphis under a microscope, and the FBI allegedly applying pressure with new task forces and investigations, it's looking messy. We've all seen how RICO charges can spread like wildfire. You don't even have to be guilty, you just have to be connected. So yeah, maybe Rev Run had that gut feeling. Maybe he said, nah, not my daughter. Not now, not with all this heat coming down. But hold on a second, because I also got to keep it real with y'all. Angela Simmons has always had a thing for street dudes. Let's not pretend this was her first time in that world. The father of her child, rest in peace, was also from the streets. She knew that lifestyle. She lived with it. So to suddenly say, oh, now she's leaving because the street life is too much, that doesn't add up. If her father was going to pull her out of a situation for being around that kind of energy, wouldn't he have done it back then? Why now? Why with Yo Gotti? That's where I start questioning the protection angle. Because truth be told, Angela's been around that life. She's seen what it does. She's been affected by it. She's had loved ones taken away because of it. So it can't be the streets alone that pushed her to end this relationship. There's more to the story. Now let's talk about vulnerability. A lot of people say Angela got with Yo Gotti not because she really loved him, but because she was in a vulnerable place. And I can see that. Let's not forget, when Yo Gotti finally got his shot, Angela had just gone through something tragic. She lost her child's father, and she was probably still healing. That's a tender time for any woman, especially one trying to raise a child and maintain a brand in the spotlight. And Yo Gotti came in with the pressure: gifts, attention, money, lifestyle. He had been publicly calling her his dream girl for years, so it probably felt good to be adored like that. But here's the thing. Just because someone adores you doesn't mean they're right for you. Angela might have thought, okay, he's shorter than me, he's not what I'm used to, but he's showing me love, and I need that right now. And she let her guard down. But what starts out as comfort can turn into confusion real quick when the love ain't mutual. Because to me, it never looked like she was really into him like that. She looked like someone trying to make it work, not someone living her fairy tale. And on Yo Gotti's side, let's be honest, he chased her for over a decade. That's 10 years of wanting someone who curved you, ignored your advances, and didn't think twice. Then suddenly, you get your chance. And when you finally get the girl you've been begging for, what do? You spoil her. You show out. But then, you cool off, you pull back. And sometimes, it's not because you don't love them. It's because you realize you only wanted them because you couldn't have them. Once the chase is over, the thrill dies. That's why a lot of relationships that start from a long pursuit don't last. It's not love, it's infatuation dressed up as destiny. Now let's talk about Angela's financial situation. People always assumed Angela had it made. She's a Simmons, right? Her daddy's Rev Run, her uncle's Russell. But real talk, that money ain't the same anymore. There ain't no more Run's house. There ain't no more pastry shoes flying off the shelves. Reports have surfaced about Angela being behind on rent, dealing with evictions, and struggling with her businesses. That's real life. And for someone who grew up rich, that has to sting. So maybe being with someone like Yo Gotti, a successful rapper, businessman, and CEO, felt like security. And I'm not knocking her hustle. Women have the right to seek stability. But let's call it what it is. This relationship was beneficial for both of them. Angela got stability. Yo Gotti got the girl he'd been flexing about. But after the Instagram photos, vacation trips, and matching outfits faded away, what was left? Two people from different worlds who probably didn't have much in common beyond timing and appearances. Also, let's talk about Angela's age. She's 37 now, and for a lot of women, especially those with kids, that's a reflective season. You start thinking about long-term moves, marriage, legacy, real partnerships. And from what I hear, Angela was looking for a ring. She wasn't trying to be nobody's forever girlfriend. And Yo Gotti, he said no, or at least he didn't say yes. And sometimes that's all it takes for a woman to walk away. Because here's the hard truth, if a man's been chasing you for 10 years, talking about how you're his dream girl, and he finally gets you, and then doesn't lock it down, that tells you everything. That's not love. That's ego. That's checking something off a bucket list. Angela saw it. She felt it. And she walked. Now, don't get it twisted. Some folks still think this breakup is all about a RICO case brewing behind the scenes. And while I won't deny the heat in Memphis is real, I just don't buy that this is the reason they split. If Angela was scared of that, she wouldn't have dated Yo Gotti in the first place. She knew what he was about. She knew who he was connected to. This ain't new information. This is the same Yo Gotti who's been in the game forever, surrounded by the same types of folks. Angela knew what she signed up for. And to be honest, the streets ain't never scared Angela. Look at her dating history. Street dudes, real ones. Men who didn't just rap about it but lived it. So no, I don't think the feds or the block getting hot is what made her leave. That's just noise. That's just folks looking for drama where there ain't none. This breakup wasn't about danger. It was about direction. Angela's trying to grow. She's trying to find purpose. And Yo Gotti? He might still be chasing that next artist, that next hit, that next flex. And that's fine, but it ain't her path anymore. That's what I believe. Let me also touch on how folks have been clowning Angela for being quirky or awkward. Some people look at her vibe and think she's weird or hard to vibe with. But maybe that's just who she is, someone who doesn't quite fit into the typical mold. That's not a flaw. That's just authenticity. And Yo Gotti, he's a street CEO. All business, all flash. Their energies were never aligned. She tried to make it work, but in the end, you can't force chemistry. And finally, let's not overlook this. When public records start surfacing, evictions, debt, overdue bills, that's when people start making the ugliest assumptions. I heard folks throwing around words like washed, vulnerable, even implying she was out here doing what she had to do to survive. That's cold, and that's disrespectful, because we don't know the full story. We don't know what she's juggling behind closed doors. But I do know this, Angela Simmons deserves more than just being a rapper's accessory. She deserves something real. And maybe that's why she walked away. So let's close this out. The Yo Gotti and Angela Simmons relationship was never about some epic love story. It was a moment that made sense when the timing was right. But moments fade. And when they do, what's left behind is the truth. The truth is, Angela is grown now. She's lived, she's lost, she's learned. And this breakup, it's just part of the process. Yo Gotti will be fine. Angela will be fine. But let's stop acting like this was all about a RICO or some street fear. It was about a woman waking up and realizing that she needs more than what a dream chaser can give. She needs a partner. And Gotti? He just wasn't the one. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you think Rev Run really made that call? Was it timing? Was it ego? Was it survival? Or was it just two people on different journeys?